Alright there folks, welcome to another match fishing adventures or mental fishing adventures, because I'm not actually fishing today. I've just had a trip up to the tackle shop because I want to talk about scaling down today. Okay, the weather for the last few weeks has been iffy at best, and now it's, well, what day is it today? It's the 21st of October and it was 6 degrees last night. It's definitely on the change, and when that happens the carp get moody, they tend to start shoaling up and stuff, and it can be feast or famine. If you're on the carp, you'll get a few out. If you're not, you could be scratching around for a few bites. But there's a few things we can do to eliminate that and make sure that we still get those bites coming, and that was one of the main reasons I went up to the tackle shop today, was to get stocked up on some line. And for my rig line, I always use that, the Reflow Power, just because it's never ever let me down, and for pole rigs in particular it's absolutely fantastic. So I've gone 0.12, 0.10, and I've even got some 0.7 for my hook links, okay, because a few matches that I'm going to do this winter at the Railway Pond as part of their winter league again. I did one last year, and then everything kind of went a bit Pete Tong, so I didn't really get up there for any others, but I'm going to hopefully get 3 or 4 done this year. But we'll see. But with that in mind, I'm proper scaling down just to try and keep those little roach coming out on a consistent basis. I've even got some size 20 and 22 hooks, so that's my train of thought at the moment. But I'm still going to be hitting some of the commercials as well, especially over winter, because there's plenty of things you can do to keep those bites coming, and that is what I'm going to aim to do as well. Okay, I'm going to be doing a few videos to cover the different bits and bobs, but this is basically just to give you a rough idea of how I do scale down and the important bits that I do look for. The biggest thing for me, as I mentioned just then, is hooks and hook sizes and stuff like that. There's no point using massive big chunky hooks in the middle of winter when the fish are shy, they're really tentative, because you've got to think as well, they've been battered all summer, so that they know what a hook looks like by now. They've got to. So anything that looks like that is going to put them off, okay? But it's still a good tactic to fish a bomb, okay? So what I've done is I've got stocked up with these. These are the MIDI KM1 hooks, okay? And I've got a few packets of these now kicking around, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these for bomb work because they're absolutely fantastic. They're nice and strong, but they're not a heavy gauge wire, they're still a medium tight wire, and to be fair, they're a bagging carp hook, so they're nice and strong and durable, and they stay sharp, and that's what you want. If you imagine you're on a rock hard match and you sat there fishing popped up bread, you're probably going to get 4 or 5 bites in a day. The last thing you'd want to do is lose a fish, okay? These have never cost me any fish. I've always landed what I've hooked, basically. So I'm going to be getting some of those sorted out in 18s and 16s, possibly 14s depending on the venue. And as I say, these are great just for fishing a single big pellet, a couple of discs of popped up bread, a couple of grains of corn, anything like that where you're trying to get that extra bonus fish, okay? So definitely check them out if you haven't already. Now, because the main attack for me this winter is going to be on the natural venues and the odd commercial match, I've really started to refine my pole fishing as well, okay? And that is where these come in. The gone now are the fat bodied 0.5, 0.6 gram floats, fishing really positive with a 2mm bristle. It's going to be impossible to see those bites. And an example of that is what I was doing a feeder session. This is going back 2 or 3 years now, and I was on a commercial, and my tape, it literally just moved that. I mean, we're talking what, maybe 2mm, and if I hadn't have been really focused on that tip, I'd have missed it completely. And it was such a strange movement that I lifted into it, and there was an F1 on the end. And that just goes to show just how delicately they can and will bite, especially when things cool down. And that is where these come in. Now these are the Jazz floats, carbon solid tips, the CST floats, and basically the carbon stem runs all the way through the body out at the top, and it's the actual carbon stem that gets painted, and that's your bristle. Now these, when they're shotted properly, are absolutely mega sensitive, and they will show up the tiniest of little bites, and that's exactly what you want going into winter now. A question I got asked the other day was, when would you start scaling down? People are doing it now in matches. I was talking to the lads in the tackle shop up at York Tackle, and they were saying that a few lads have been in saying that they had to drop down to a 0.10 hook length just to get a bite. Now is the time to scale down. Now, elastic is another thing you've got to focus on as well, because there's no point using your summer elastics with, say, a 2 pound hook length, because as soon as you start pulling into them fish, the elastic's not going to do anything. So there's a chance you're going to either bump the fish or get snapped off, and we don't want that. So think about scaling back your elastics as well. But again, that is all personal choice. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole because I've been shot down before, basically. So it's up to you. Scale it down, it'll work, basically, is what I'm saying. And that's basically it. I'm not waffling on for hours because it's boring, to be fair. I'd rather be out on the bank showing you the differences that it can make. And that's a video that I've got planned. I'm not entirely sure when I'm going to be able to do it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick off a swim and hopefully build up a good rhythm of getting the silvers out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap to a heavier rig where using thicker lines, bigger hooks, and just see what impact it has on the fishing, so you can see side by side the comparison, basically. I think it'll work. It should work, but the proof's in the pudding. This is why I want to be out on the bank showing you. But yeah, definitely check out the line, check out these hooks by Midi as well for winter fishing, and everything else you've seen me use before. So I'm going to end it there. Stay safe, tight lines, and I'll catch you all later. Cheers.